Hey, this is Reverend Casey Carroll. I'm here in San Marcos Square in Venice, and I want to talk about biblical social stratification. When we look at the Bible, what we end up seeing is that the first social stratification within Israel was actually set forth after Moshe. And so what ended up happening is after the 40 years in the desert, Moshe ends up giving the law in Deuteronomy, literally a second telling in the last days of his life. He sat and wrote down the law. Joshua takes the law, sets forth, and goes and sets up rulers over first tens and then hundreds, and then the thousands, and then tens of thousands of men. But ultimately, the leader being Joshua. Joshua was an interesting leader. He was what you call as the archetype of the philosopher king. See, Joshua is not only the military leader that he's renowned for going in and conquering Jericho and all of the states for that matter, that ended up coming in and rule of Israel. But more so, what ends up happening is that Joshua sets up the leaders over, generally it was the judges, smaller groups, leading up to him being ultimately like a supreme judge, but also the warlord, overseer of the armies of Israel. And also, he was one of the, generally, the religious leader at the time. So what he ended up doing was actually being the head of the military, the head of all of the organized religion, and then also he was the head of the social constructs at the time. So he was able to set forth those in power that would have ruling over those that were underneath them. And so the actual social stratification was set forth, and the judges that gave forth the power of those who were the elected officials. And so technically, it's a theocracy of God that ran similar to, it's kind of a bit of everything, because what you end up having is not necessarily a monarchy with a king, but an oligarchy where they ruled over those who were chiefs appointed over those until they set forth. And generally, when we read through Torah, it ends up showing the actual way that all of the society of Israel was set forth to have that ruling, and then more so the rules that were set forth. These rules end up setting forth the social stratification that goes forward through Israel into where you have the division of the kingdom, where it splits into Israel and Judea and King Solomon, and then further, whenever you have the Babylonian exile, and the return with Ezra and Nehemiah, the resetting up of the temple, the time of the Maccabees set forth in the time of Christ and the second dispersion. And so when we look back, it's really great to be able to see that the original set forth for the classification of society came through Joshua and Moshe, and that the actual Torah lays forth the instructions for the system, and it also shows that actually, if we're kept in obeying of God's law, we end up receiving His blessing and also being put into those positions of power. With that, this is Reverend Casey Carroll in Venice, with an overview of biblical social stratification. See you.